Hello, everybody, and welcome into my latest live video. And I just want to check and make sure that everybody can see and hear me okay. We're doing a slightly different way of broadcasting today. I've got a special guest in store for you today, and I can't wait to bring him on. We just want to make sure that we are broadcasting as we should be. And yes, we're getting some confirmations in the chat. Thank you, Thomas. Now, today it is the 23rd of February. It's Friday. It's 2024. My name is CareyHolzman, and I thank you all for joining us today. I'm looking over to my side here because I'm looking to see waiting for my stream to start. I'm getting nervous, but I'm glad you guys saw it before I did. So, phew. All right. I want to thank everybody for showing up today because, as I mentioned, we've got a great friend and this gentleman who we've had on before has a piece of software that my business definitely benefits greatly from. And of course, we're talking about Instant Housecall. Now, I talk about Instant Housecall on a regular basis, usually briefly in the beginning or end of a show. And I mentioned how it's really designed for computer support techs and how I use it, how I rely on it. And you can take my word for it. You can download the free trial, see for yourself. But then what do you do with it when you've got it? How does it work? So here to talk to us all about Instant Housecall, how it works, the latest features. We'll get into all the details as well as encourage your questions because we got the man here himself joining us from Toronto, Canada. It's Carey Fruitman, and welcome in, Carey. There he is.
Thank you very much, Carey. I appreciate it.
It's great having you here. Thank you for joining us. And listen, I can bring on experts to tell me about software, but there's no better expert to talk about it than you. I mean, it's your software. So I
know this one pretty well.
I would expect we're going to get all the details and everything's accurate and there's no misunderstanding except from me.
Well, we're not only that, we're gonna get into a few tips and tricks that that aren't obvious, and there's gonna be one just for CareyHolzman listeners. So we'll get into that a little bit later.
All right, maybe I'm gonna learn something new today. I mean, not that I know everything. It's just I'm a little thick-skulled sometimes. It's hard to get things through. So we'll see. Now, I think the last time you were here, I learned a couple of things that I've been using ever since, and I've been using them so much, I've conveniently forgotten if you taught them to me or if I figured them out on my own. You see how that works? But I'll tell you what I thought we would do today is I've got this little mini PC right here, and it's clean. It just has Windows 11 Pro on it and all the updates and drivers, nothing else. And I thought this would be a great way to demonstrate how you'll be the specialist and I'll be the customer, right? Customer says to me, hey, Carey, I'm having, I can't print or I can't access my network or whatever the thing is, I can't open this Word document. In the old days, which is just a few years ago, I used to have to get in the car, drive to the client, click a button, get back in the car, drive all the way back. And then when I send the customer the bill, they go, why did you charge me an hour? You were here 10 minutes.
Right.
I go, I got 45 minutes in the car. I got 45 minutes back. You interrupted what I was doing. It was a priority. I stopped what I was doing to help you. And it's not great for customer service, but at the same time, it's not an inflated bill. It's really what I have invested. So with remote software, I can help the customer immediately while they're on the phone, show me the problem. I grab control of the keyboard and the mouse. And in most cases, I can fix the problem and I don't have to get off the couch. I don't have to get in the car. The customer doesn't have to wait and it doesn't interrupt my day that much. And I can help more people in one day, therefore making more money since I'm self-employed. The more people I help, the more money I make and the happier the customers are. But the problem I've had with remote software back when it first was sort of becoming a thing was getting my clients to download the piece of software on their side. Oh, I would pull out my hair I tell them what to type in. They always type it in the search engine instead of up at the URL. And Instant House Call has solved this problem for me. And that was always the most difficult part to get over. Now, once a client had the remote software installed, it was easy, right? I just, can click on it. And in the old, even before that, with things like Real VNC, I had to go to the clients to install Real VNC, set a static IP address on their computer, go into their router and set port forwarding, write their IP address down and hope it doesn't change by the ISP. And then I could remote in, but I'd had to go there first to set it up. Then I could remote in anytime. All that's done now. We have since moved on. And I don't know if I've covered all the benefits of it, but that's the benefits from me as a computer tech. And also, just as a regular person looking for remote software, Instant House Call works well for that too. And it's very, very affordable. So before we get started in this demo, is there anything you'd like to tell us about it before we start?
I mean, a couple things that you touched on were really great points. The fact that it makes your customers happier, the fact that you're able to see more customers in a day, that's huge. But one of the things that I really like about remote support software, and especially Instant House Call, is the ability to help more than one customer at the same time. So if you've got 3 or 4 customers, you can open up 3 or 4 windows at the same time. And while you're running a malware scan on one computer, you can be fixing something on a second computer and running another scan on the third computer. So you can actually triple your hourly rate because you're being fair to all of your customers. You're working on all of their computers, but you're able to do 3 at the same time, which you would never be able to do when you're physically in front of them.
It's a great point. And it's one I forgot about because I'll tell you where I often use it. Customer says, I need to print to the printer down the hall. And I'm like, which printer is that? Oh, it's a HP, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that doesn't help. Can you get me a configured, connected to a computer that's already connected to that printer so I can look at the properties of it? Sure, they move desks. I get access to that computer. That's the printer they want. I see what the IP address is on it. And I click screens back over to their computer. I add the printer. Easy peasy. Yep. Right? And as you mentioned, there's nothing deceitful or wrong with working on multiple computers at the same time and being able to triple your hourly rate because you're hourly charging each one. If anything, that's a benefit to each of those customers that traditionally would have to wait their turn.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And then how do you triage who's more important? I always go by who calls first, but if somebody's down, something is affecting in a business, their ability to conduct business, that's always going to go right to the top. So in any case that we can connect remotely, it's faster, it's cheaper, it's more profitable. And Instant House Call adds some features at the end. Now, I personally don't use these, but I can see how I want to say a real business, a traditional business would use like feedback, billing, leaving a business card, if you will, on the desktop. And I'll leave that to you to explain it. I don't know it very well because I don't use it. I think you've offered a few times to help me finish setting up my account, but you don't understand. That is my account setup. I leave all that because I'm not a big corporation. I expect to get feedback directly from my customer. It's not going to HR, right? The customers sometimes are on retainers, so there's no invoice. It's all included in the retainer. And as far as any business card, I'm probably a fool for not doing that, honestly, but it's so easy to connect. They know my phone number, and that's pretty much what we do, except for my clients that are on retainer. That's already installed and kind of sits down in the system tray, out of sight, out of mind. And that enables me to connect at night when the business is closed, so I can perform regular maintenance like Windows updates, delete temp files, scan the computer for viruses, and it doesn't impact their workday. And I'm a night owl, so it works for both of us.
And actually, like in terms of leaving your business card, so you have the option of leaving an icon on their desktop that says contact CareyHolzman, or I don't know, what's the name of your business? Is it just CareyHolzman, or do you have
Computer Performance Specialists?
Computer Performance Specialist. So you can customize the icon make it look like whatever you want. So you could have it as that CH logo that you have behind you, or you could have it as computer performance specialists logo, and you can change the text on it as well. So they'll have an icon on their desktop that says computer performance specialists. Sorry, am I getting it right?
Plural, yeah.
Yeah.
As if they were.
And then they would just double click on that. They don't even have to call you anymore. They can just double click on that and contact you right away. And if you're not available, they can leave their computer and they can leave a time window open for you. They can say, Carey's allowed into my computer between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock today. And then when you get in and you sign in, it'll automatically connect to you, or they can give you unattended access. And you can go in just like you did with Real VNC or PC Anywhere. You can access anytime you want. Or you can do on-demand remote support. So if they're on the phone with you, you can have them connect to you right away. So there's lots of different ways with Instant House Call to connect to somebody, to make that connection. You can do on-demand, unattended, like I said, time window. And they all have different use cases. They're all useful for different things. But in any case, you do have that business card, that icon on your desktop that is customized for you with your logo, with your name, and people can click on that at any time.
So,
go ahead.
Well, you mentioned that because I normally my customers will reach out to me if there's a problem. They don't normally start the instant house call. That's kind of hidden for my clients, unless it's somebody who hasn't called me before. My retainer clients, the ones I service the most often, they don't know how to use the remote software, right? But I love this idea that they could skip the phone call and they could bring up Instant House Call if I showed them how to do it. And they can open, is it a support ticket? What is it called?
I mean, I would call it a remote support session. Some people would call it a ticket. When we actually get into the software, I'll show you where you can customize the text. So some people will say, please type your support ticket here. Some people will say, how can I help you? Different people say different things and have sorry, my docking station's acting up a little bit. Different people have different things and have different styles and different things, but Instant House Call is super customizable, and you're able to change the text to say whatever you want. So if you use the word ticket, you can say ticket. If you say remote support session, it can be a remote support session. Whatever you want it to be, fully customizable, fully trainable, nothing you need to do.
So when the customer requests support, and let's say like right now, I'm in an interview with you, I'm live, I can't help anybody right now. How does that alert me when I go back to my computer? Am I getting an email? Do I have to have Instant House Call running on my side to see the alert? How does that work?
Fantastic question. So a bunch of different ways. So we can set it up to send you an SMS to let you know that you have a customer in queue. We can have it send you an email to let you know that there's a customer in queue. Or when you sign in, it will just automatically connect directly to you. So all of those are available. All of those are possible, and you're always in touch with your customers.
Now, there's no like automated support chat AI or something that can answer my customers' FAQs while I'm away or to resolve. We're not there yet.
I mean, I guess the technology is there, but Instant House Call is not there quite yet. No, we don't have the AI chatbot built in.
And you know what? I bet you customers are going to value that more and more when you start pulling your hair out when you realize you're talking to a bot and you're spending your precious time picking the right words to say, getting boilerplate responses.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Sometimes maddening. So being able to emphasize to your customers that you're always going to get a human being, I think that's actually a benefit. I guess it depends on the scale of the company.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So shall we get it installed? And let's say I want to be the customer. I need support. Okay. You're going to be the specialist. You are the specialist. Let's walk through it. What do I do?
So there's a bunch of different ways you can set this up. In case it hasn't come to you yet, Instant House Call super customizable. So we can put a link on your website that directly downloads the app. You can use a support portal, which is what we provide to you, which is like a template of a download area. Or some people will actually register their own domains. So I've got one customer who uses pc123.com. And people go to that website instead of anywhere else, and they download from there. But whichever way you do it is going to have the same effect. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use my support portal, which is the one that comes with Instant Housecall. And you're leaning in because you're having trouble hearing me.
I missed you said it really quickly. Your portal is
support portal.
Your support portal. Where am I going to go?
Demo.instanthousecall.com.
That's what I couldn't hear. Okay. So let me switch over to this desktop. It should be, in theory, it's waiting for us at the desktop. Let me try this and see if it works. Bear with me for a second as I select my HDMI input and turn off camera 1. And then we have to go full screen over here on my side. Oh, you know what I can do? I can put you right here. Look at me. All right. So I'm like, hey, Corey, I need some help. My computer says error. I'd like you to look at it.
No problem. Can you open up your browser and go to demo.instanthousecall.com?
Okay. Let me use the right keyboard and mouse. We're going to go up here. And demo.instanthousecall.com. Oh, okay.
Okay. And as you can see, there's a big blue download button. So if you can click on that download button.
I don't see anything downloading. Did I not?
It looks like the download was triggered. I'm not familiar with where Edge puts downloads, but if you press Control-J, you'll be able to see your downloads. Oh, there it is. I see it now.
I guess I didn't. I have a slow internet connection here, by the way. So I'm famously impatient.
So
I see it's, the little wheel up here is turning, like it's thinking about it. I'm going to refresh the page because I feel like maybe I hit it before the page loaded. I like how you can put the phone number up here.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And then is this the branding, or does Instant House, this is where I would put my company name and logo?
That's where your company name and logo would appear, yeah. So you can customize that so it shows your thing.
Corey and we had a discussion before the show that we said we should try this and make sure everything's okay. And I'm like, I use Instant House Call all the time and I never have a problem. So it cracks me up and I said, if we have any issues, I think that'll make it even more interesting. And I did warn Corey, my internet that I'm connected to here, it's a secondary internet connection. My primary one I use for my broadcasts. So I might have to switch it over to the broadcast internet connection. Oh,
here it comes.
Or I just have to be more patient. But normally this is much, much faster. That's not on Instant House Call side. That's on my side. I want my audience to be aware of that. So now that that's downloaded,
go ahead and click open. And then yes.
Okay.
And that's all your customer needs to do. So there are no keys or codes or pins. You'll see sometimes with remote support software, very frequently there's a key or a code or a pin. And if you want, I can actually explain the history of why this is the way it is.
This is secure, and this is like, I never find any scammers ever using Instant House Call.
Well, I'll show you why they don't use it actually once we connect. But we've done a lot to make sure that scammers don't find Instant House Call appealing. And I'll show you why that is. But once they've opened up the app, they'll see this the screen that you're looking at here. And I'll just give you a really quick tour there. So you're on the specialist tab right now. And I don't have my headshot uploaded, so you're just seeing the generic icon for
I got you here.
Headshot. But you can customize it with your headshot. The drop-down menu just beneath it has a list of specialists. So if there's somebody else on your team that you want to direct it to, you can do it from there. Company name is obviously completely brandable, and the website, of course, is brandable as well.
Nice.
And then the logo that you see there at the top where it says Instant Housecall, that's brandable as well. And the accent color that you see, the blue, so it's using the Instant Housecall blue, which is the default. The accent color for the start session button and the accent color underneath specialist right now, that little blue line, that's all customizable as well. So you can fully brand it to make it look like your own business. And actually, if you minimize your browser, I'm going to show you where that little business card is. You'll see that white logo at the bottom left, where I think it should say Get Remote Support. I can't quite make it out from here.
Yes.
That icon is brandable, and you can change the icon text as well. So you can change it from Get Remote Support to Talk to CareyHolzman or whatever you want it to say.
Nice. Nice.
And then if you wanted to start an on-demand session, so let's go through a little bit of terminology here. An on-demand session is a session that the customer starts, and it only works once. It only works for the session that you're in. You can obviously reboot the computer as many times as you want to reconnect. But once that session's over, you can't get back into their computer again. So people like lawyers and doctors really appreciate on demand because they don't have to worry about you popping onto their computer while they're looking at a confidential document, for example. The flip side is unattended access. So I'm going to ask you to click on unattended, which is the third tab from the left. And here you can grant people unattended access. So you can see my name there. You're welcome to grant me unattended access if you want to. And then once you grant unattended access, I can come into your computer anytime I want to. So it's like RDP or VNC, or we'll go way back to PC Anywhere. Once somebody grants you unattended access, but let's be clear, it's with permission only, then you're able to get into their computer anytime you want to.
When you're connected to my computer, can you open this and set it yourself to unattended?
No, you can't.
Only the end user can do that. So it's 100% secure. Your connection is a one-time only, unless the customer and not you. You can't get in here and make these changes remotely.
That's correct. And that's actually different. There are lots of remote support software that allow the technician to do it. So that's item number one as to why hackers hate Instant Housecall, because they can't do things like that.
Oh, yeah, because they're going to want access. Once they give you access, they want it permanently.
Exactly.
And they don't necessarily want you to know that.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So with Instant Housecall, it's all permissions based. The customer can always see when you're connected. Every time you reboot the computer, it pops up a little toast notification that says unattended access is active. Always keeps the customer apprised of what's going on. So the customer feels safe and secure and confident that you're using the software in an appropriate way.
This contact tab?
Yes.
Oh, that's me, right? That's what I would fill out?
That's you.
Oh, it drives me crazy when my customers don't fill this out because I get a support request from user.
Fantastic question. So you can actually, in the administrator control panel, which we're going to look at later, you can configure that to prompt them every time. So they'll be asked for their contact information every time they connect. So yeah.
Phone. Email.
Your phone number?
All right. So when that's filled out, then when the support request comes in, I see who it's from, and if they fill out the information. Usually I just ask my customers to just put the darn name in.
Mm-hmm.
But usually I have all this other information.
So by default, Instant Housecall will pull from your Windows user profile. So if the customer has a name in in Windows, it will automatically populate that name.
Oh, yes, because I always set the username of user. That's why it said user.
There you go.
Aha. Oh, okay. All right. Damn it, I learned something new. I mean, no, that's great. All right, so now down here, now this is not a chatbot.
That is not a chatbot.
And I would say, hey, Corey, having issues. Please help. That's usually how vague my customers are.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right? Okay. And then I just hit the blue button.
That's it.
Now I don't want to take over here. So
Go ahead. Hit
I
that
mean,
blue button.
we're done talking about this side of we've gone over everything.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry, it's a bad habit. Try to be in control. Let's click start session. All right. And now, do I have any indication that anything is happening?
Yep, you do. So if you take a look at the top of your screen, it's creatively called the floating window. It's and it shows who you're connected to. So in this case, it's me. And you can see the company name and my name, the ability to chat and disconnect. So that's reason number 2. Hackers hate Instant House Call because this little window here tells people who they're connected to at any given time. And the connection status obviously is the green light. Now, if you want to temporarily hide this, because sometimes people want to access controls that are behind this window, you can click on it and it'll go away for a short little while. And then I think after 30 seconds or so, it'll pop back up. So just to give your customers the reassurance that it is that they're connected to you. But if for some reason you really hate it, you can actually dismiss that window completely. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. The easiest way to do it is actually when the window comes back, I'll show you. But the easiest way to do it is to click on the X in the Instant House Call. But you can also choose hide floating window from the system tray right here. And that will allow you to hide that floating window.
Now, for the audience watching, Corey is moving the mouse. I am no longer steering. Now, can you and I fight over this? It looks like we can.
We can duke it out.
So if I wanted to, could I disconnect you? Like if you've hidden that window and I'm like, oh no, I don't like you. I've changed my mind. How would I abruptly end this?
You would go to the system tray icon and you would choose Exit Instant House Call.
Okay. So the end user always has control if they want it.
The end user always has control if they want it. Yes.
Okay. Now I've seen some remote support offer to blank out the customer's screen. I've never quite understood this. Do you do that? Or is that an option?
We used to. We no longer do, and that's for the same reason we've talked about. It can be abused, and locking people out of their computer isn't exactly a best practice. So we no longer offer a lockout and blank screen for that reason.
Traditionally, when I connect with other remote software, and maybe things have changed, but it used to be the wallpaper would go away, and that was an easy way I could tell if somebody connected to me.
Yeah. So again, we used to do that. We used to remove the wallpaper, but people complained about it a lot, surprisingly.
Wow.
And so we leave it there now. It became a thing. There's the banner returning. And if you look right here, there's a little X. You can dismiss it from that X, but I'm going to leave it there.
But you can't bring that back. You have to wait for it to come back on its own.
If you click the banner to temporarily hide it, it will automatically come back on its own. You can't force it back. There's no way to force it back.
Okay. And my only concern, I suppose, not that I've ever had any customer complaints, but I like to know if somebody's connected to me at all times. And if that's hidden, how would I really know that you were there if I'm your average customer? And unless I'm going to grab the mouse. And if I go down and I know enough to click down here, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a fair point. And I don't have a fantastic answer for you on that one.
A feature request.
What's that?
Consider it a feature request. Some indicator somewhere conspicuous on the screen that says there's a connection right now that you cannot get rid of. Like, I would personally find that reassuring.
So again, we used to have that. This floating window is actually an evolution of a window that you were able to move around that sort of floated typically right around in this area here.
Yeah.
And people found that it got in the way. So we moved to this floating window that you see at the top and made it temporarily and fully dismissible, just based on user feedback. I am embarrassed by the amount of work that has gone into this silly window. Really, I've probably spent more money on development on that window than
really. I don't know.
It's very hard to balance everybody's requests when it comes to
that. No, it gets in my way too. Like when I'm working on clients, sometimes I need to get up there at the top, but maybe, I don't know. I don't have any answers, but maybe if I clicked it, it went over to the right. If I clicked it again, it went to the bottom. If I clicked it again, it went to the left. My only concern is if it's hidden, where's my reassurance when somebody says they connected? Now, I suppose in the case of Instant House Call, if I'm, again, a more informed user, I could go down to the system tray, or I suppose I could just, I guess, restart the computer, because Instant House Call isn't going to automatically reconnect, or will it?
If we were to reboot the computer right now while we're in a session, it would automatically reconnect, yes. And then you would see this window again and you'd be able to.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Point made. All right. If I have any concerns, I assure you at this point, they're little minor Carey things. Because I love the software, and I'm not just like, it makes no difference that that you're a great guy and I consider you a friend. I like your software, and that's what led to that friendship, right? It wasn't the other way around. This isn't loyalty here.
No, you gave me a good run through the ringer when we first met, as you might recall.
Well, that was an earlier version. You've improved the heck out of it. I'm just saying, I hope I've improved too.
Absolutely.
All right. So we all should improve. No, this software, the latest revision that you guys came out with, is a world of difference. It used to be laggy, and it used to drive me crazy how laggy it was. That lagginess has gone away. And your current version of Instant House Call is what?
7.0.2.
And so the prior version that I'm talking about was what, 6?
It was version 6, yes.
Okay. In version 7, how long has that been available now?
About a year now.
It's been about a year. And do you foresee a version 8?
I do. Absolutely.
All right. Well, if version 8 is as big of a change as version 7 was to version 6, I'm only going to get happier.
There you go. Yeah. No,
but I'm happy now. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. No matter how happy I am, I can be happier.
Version 7 was definitely a big change. Anytime we do a major version number, like it goes from 6 to 7 or 5 to 6, there's been big changes.
Now, within 7, have you had any little feature updates that you want to talk about?
I mean, the feature updates in 7 are everything that we've been going through. So everything from this floating window that we've been talking about for the past 5 minutes to
that was not hyperbole.
We modernized absolutely everything. We sped things up. We modernized it. We crisped up the image. We even made, you're not gonna be able to see it because it's on my side, but we made the window scalable on the specialist side. So the window can be shrunk and enlarged. And the one customer who really likes it is a library, and they have like 20 computers up, and they shrink them all down until they want to see one specifically, and then they grow it. So there's lots of stuff in this new version. I mean, if you want to nerd out a little bit, we changed our UI from Win32 to Qt, which gave us access to basically better looking UI widgets. And so that's what it does.
I'm loving the improvements. I can tell you honestly, I use Instant House Call almost 100%, not just for business, but for personal use too. And while there are a lot of tools in Instant House Call that differentiate it from other remote software, sometimes I get viewers that say, well, I'm not a tech, and there's free remote software out there. Why don't I just use what's free? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure, absolutely. So when they're talking about free, they're mostly talking about TeamViewer. That's the most common free application. And so if you're using TeamViewer professionally, you're going to run into trouble very quickly because they're going to cut you off, and they're going to cut you off in the middle of your session when you're working with a customer. If you're using it to help your grandma or grandpa or your mom, and you only use it very occasionally, and I say very occasionally, I really emphasize that very, then a free one will do the job. It won't be as feature rich. It's not going to have all the tools that a technician's going to use. It's not going to be brandable, obviously. It's not going to let you collect customer information. It's not going to let you take notes. It's not going to let you do any of that stuff. But if you're looking for a very basic free connection, just to help your mom with her computer, then there are free options out there. And if you're looking for a professional tool, something that you would be proud to show your customers, and you want to brand it and have your icon on their desktop, and have all the tools that a professional needs that we're going to show you during this session, then you need something like Instant Housecall, where you have access to those tools and they make your business run faster and they make your customers happier, and there's just more that you can do. It's like anything, you get what you pay for. If you're working with a free tool, it will certainly do the job for a basic remote connection. But if you're looking to have a professional tool, Instant Housecall is not an expensive tool. I'll plug the price just for fun. It's $29 a month starting. So that's $29. You're going to make your money back before your first hour of use is done. So you would have made your money back by the time this podcast had started. And then the rest of your month is completely free. So it's not hard. It's not hard to make your money back with a tool like Instant Housecall, and the amount of benefit that you get, the amount of branding, the amount of additional tools that you get that speed things up, the ability, like I said, to do on-demand, unattended time window, all of that, to get SMSs, to get emails when your customers are in queue, all of that pays for itself incredibly quickly.
I would encourage people to find out the starting price of TeamViewer. I won't say anything other than just look it up yourself, and you'll see what a bargain Instant Housecall is. Now, I've used some free stuff, free remote stuff, and what I find is it doesn't do enough. Like, I want to transfer a file to my client. No file transfers, quite often not available in a free remote. There's no support. There's no help. It's sort of, you get what you get. And if it doesn't work, too bad. Right. There's nobody to, I can complain to you, but if I'm downloading a free tool, I can send an email, but I never get a response from the company, never. Or if I get a response, it's some generic boilerplate, right? I taken the time to carefully craft my response, and I'm getting something that was just kicked out without any effort, and it's offensive to me, but it's free, so you're free to be offended, I guess is the key with free. So we also have a discount, right, for our viewers. So if that $29.99 wasn't cheap enough, aren't we doing something for them?
15% off for CareyHolzman listeners.
Look at that.
And that's on any yearly plan. So if you want to take advantage of that, just buy an Instant Housecall yearly plan, any yearly plan. You can buy it online, and then just email me and tell me you're a CareyHolzman listener. You get 15% off your first year of any yearly plan on Instant Housecall.
How many times have you ever heard the owner of the company say, just email me? How much is that worth? That's worth an extra $50 right there. So here's the other thing. Joking aside, there's a free trial. So as we continue talking about the ins and outs and examples of how Instant Housecall can be used, I want to encourage you in the chat, everybody who's in the chat, to ask any questions. And I'm going to go through those here in just a minute before we continue. I want to encourage you to download Instant Housecall, and you can follow along with us and look through the features and make up your own mind and compare it to what other tools. I mean, apart from remote management software, which is far more expensive. I mean, I don't like remote management software for me. None of my clients are that big. I like, if you haven't figured out by now, I like control, and I'm not a fan of automation. And that better not have been a Pepsi.
I'm sorry.
I like control. Where was I? Oh, about control. So to automate things is great when you have 100 different endpoints you've got to do. But for me, it's 12 over here, 6 over there. So I like to look at each one individually. And remote management software, to me, it not only costs more, but the automation, I don't trust it. Now, I don't know, is there an RMM side to Instant House Call?
There is not.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, it was something that I had considered, and ended up deciding not to pursue it. Decided to specialize on a remote, make the best remote support tool out there that there is. There's lots of RMMs out there, and some of them do some things well, some of them do many things well. But you'll notice that a lot of them have started integrating with third-party remote tools because they weren't able to build their own very effectively. Because remote is a huge undertaking, and so for them, they were trying to build this as a feature when it's ultimately its own product.
Looks like somebody was putting a price for TeamViewer in the chat, but is that for a year? I don't think it's that cheap. So, all right, let me scroll up just very quickly and see if we have any questions to address before we move forward. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I didn't know if there was something you wanted to talk about first. Don't mind me. It's my old eyes. I have to.
I know. I'm getting that way too. I don't like it. Not one bit.
I could make the font bigger, but I'm stubborn and I refuse to because then I would be.
The font on my phone is embarrassingly large.
See, I won't do that because I'm afraid someone behind me will be able to read my phone easier. If I'm struggling, let them struggle too. That's all I say. Okay, scroll. If I want to remind you, if you've asked a question earlier, we haven't seen it. I'll ask you to ask your question again while I'm looking here in the chat. And we can put your question right up on the screen here so everybody can read it and give Corey an opportunity to answer it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to go to the most recent.
That's an active chat you got there.
Yeah, it's moving, isn't it? Zen Carter has a feature request. Instant House Call could create a permanent small colored watermark dot in one. Oh, we're still talking about some indication that you are connected. This hasn't been an issue for any of my clients, by the way. It's just me. And clearly Zen Carter, right? Some sort of
Zen Carter. It's a good call. The challenge with a watermark is that desktop color backgrounds are all different. And in order to get a watermark that doesn't, I mean, not just desktop colors, but window colors and everything else, they're all different. In order to get something that doesn't look like garbage, it's very difficult to and doesn't obstruct the view and communicates to the customer that you're connected. It's a very difficult thing to do. So
have you ever seen, sorry to interrupt, have you ever seen like when you do screen capture and the border turns yellow all around?
Yes.
Maybe.
That is exactly what I have in my Figmas.
All right, don't talk to me. I mean, don't listen to me. I'm not a developer. So let's see. Dan in the chat wants to know how secure is Instant House Call if, let's say, a scammer gets a hold of it?
Okay, fantastic question. So like I said before, there's lots in the software that makes it scammer unfriendly. So no screen blanking. I'll show you one other thing actually while we're talking about scammers. Unfortunately, remote support scammers are a pretty common thing. Is this a folder or is that a file?
Do you want, you're on my desktop right now?
I am, yeah.
Okay, let me switch my input over to my desktop. And then let me go full screen so everybody can see what you're doing. And you're asking me about, I'm sorry, now I'm on board with you.
Okay. So with Instant House Call, so unlike other remote tools where you can open up a command window and just download files, and what they typically are downloading is your ID, unfortunately, or your credit card information. But a lot of remote support scammers will go through your file system and just pick up files and grab them from a command window. With Instant House Call, it has to be transparent. So you can see when I'm transferring a file, you can see me doing it. And you know that there's something going on when I'm transferring a file. So right now, if I wanted to transfer that file, you would see me actually downloading that file.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does that make sense?
Demonstrate. Go ahead. Download that. That's a small folder, so it wouldn't.
Okay.
Download it.
So
you can download the folder or the file, right?
Yeah, yeah. You can download the folder. You can download the file. So
oh, there it is. So just the same as if I were copying it locally.
Exactly.
Well, that's very obvious to me.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is that they can see what you're doing. Your internet's really slow, man.
You think I lied? Was I bragging? All right.
They can see what's going on. So now the file transfer is complete, but everything is transparent. So there's no way to just download files without the customer knowing that you're downloading files. They have to see you going into the file system. If I were a scammer, I would probably go into your documents.
Yeah.
And you've got nothing here, but let's say you had something that was, say, credit cards or driver's license. The customer could see you going into their driver's license folder, clicking show more options, going to Instant Housecall, seeing transfer file, saying transfer file to rogue computer, and then they would see the actual file being transferred through the download dialog. So it's very transparent. There's no incentive for scammers to use Instant Housecall.
And I could cancel that transfer, right? Didn't it have a cancel button?
You can, yes.
Yeah, or just the same way you would cancel any copy locally.
Yep, exactly.
Red X, right? Okay. All right, let me go back to. Bear with me here for a second. We'll go back to camera 1 on me and then put you on the screen and back to some more questions here. Let me look through. Scroll down. Yeah, this is good, Corey. We're seeing a lot of interest in the chat. I love it. Let's see. Taz Cool says, I love Instant Housecall. It's great for support and cool owner. There you go.
Taz.
Taz is a good guy. He's been a viewer. Oh my gosh, he was a listener back in the radio days. Okay, let's see. Zen Carter says, I appreciate the response. That's a respectable response. See, they're not used to a respectable response. So it stands out. Okay, thank you, Zen. Let's see. Whoops. There's Planet Cryos. I got last year, so I don't have to go over to my father's house. I spoke with Corey myself, and he's very helpful.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And yeah, Planet Cryos is another tech, and he's got a YouTube channel himself. Scroll up. Tim Teal says, is there a reason why it can be a little slow on response when scrolling on pages to scroll up and down?
So we actually improved that in version 7. So I'm not sure if you're referring to the previous version, but there are substantial improvements to version 7. The reason it's a little bit slower is we use an image codec. We don't use a video codec for Instant Housecall. So it's made for opening and closing windows, not for scrolling through documents. Could there be a video codec in its future? We have looked into that many times. It is a possibility, but right now we are using an image codec.
Now that brings up another question. When there is a minor update, how do I know to update?
When you log into your customer's computer, it will bring up a little pop-up that says, there's a new version available. Do you want to update? If you click yes, it will automatically do the update, and it will restart their Instant Housecall, do the update, and do everything that needs to be done, and then reconnect to you.
I've noticed on the client side, if I've installed Instant Housecall just as a host, it's out of sight, out of mind, sitting in the system tray. Am I correct in my assumption that if it's a minor update, I have to re-download again? It doesn't tell me unless it's a bigger update?
It will. For any update, it will tell you that there has been an update. But it tells the technician, not the customer. So it's designed to not.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Ben wants to know, will this work with Linux?
Unfortunately not, no.
So this is a Windows only, or is it
Windows
Apple?
and Windows
and okay. Let's see, scrolling just to see if we can get a few more questions. The time is ticking and we got a lot to get to, but I do want to include the audience here, and I want to encourage them to download the free trial, because no matter how much time we have, we won't be able to get through all of it regardless. But I just want to go through sort of the basics that would be most meaningful to most people that would think they need this. What would be the most common and useful features versus maybe some of the more specialized features, which again, could be a lifesaver for some of the viewers, but for most of them, that's what I'm trying to cover today. Scrolling. Tim Teal again, Instant Housecall program is great. I used it today with a client. Thank you, Carey and Corey.
Thank you, Tim.
Again, I encourage anybody who's not familiar with it, who's curious, don't take anybody's word for it. See for yourself. I mean, honestly, nobody's opinion matters more than your own, and you're never going to learn how to ride a bicycle by somebody explaining it to you. You will have to get on the bicycle. There's just no other way to learn it. And if you have some questions or concerns, you can always email Corey directly, right? That's okay?
Absolutely.
No, seriously, you can.
You seriously can. My email is Corey.
I wink like, you're going to get flooded, but you won't be, because I think it's so intuitive and it's so easy.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward.
But if it isn't, feel free, reach out. He's going to answer you. You're going to hear from the man himself.
You know, I'll tell you the history of where Instant Housecall came from, actually, because I think it's useful to understand why it's as easy to use as it is. So Instant Housecall, many years ago. So Instant Housecall was founded in 2007. So it's been around for a while now. But before that, I used to work at a college called George Brown College in Toronto. And I worked in the deaf and hard of hearing services department. So I worked with a lot of deaf people. And there was one of the deaf students wanted to start his own computer repair business. And so Instant Housecall I put together a little program because I knew how to program it at the time. And I put together a little program that did remote and chat and just, very basic things that would be useful for a deaf person. And I gave it to him and I said, here, have at it, have fun. And then I realized that this could become a product. But some of the stuff that you see in Instant Housecall, like at the beginning where it says, how can I help you? And Carey types in his very vague message about I'm having an issue and I need help with something.
Yep.
That was intended for a deaf guy because he had no way of communicating with his hearing clients.
Oh.
And the fact that there's no keys, codes, or pins are there because it was for a deaf guy who wasn't able to communicate a key or a code or a pin in an easy way.
There was an actual person that was hard of hearing or had loss of hearing that you were specifically thinking of?
That I specifically made it for. That's how.
Wow.
That's how the app came to be. So that imprint has never left the product, and that's why it's easy to use and doesn't require a lot of communication with the other party. That's why you're able to do so many things, because it was originally made for somebody who was not able to communicate with his hearing clients.
Well, what's great though is it also works for people who don't listen.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I missed a question here. Nick Poverman wants to know if you have a deal for IT pros that deal with 400 end clients and have 5 IT support staff.
I have a fantastic deal: 15% off your first year with coupon code Carey.
What version of Instant Housecall would they want?
Okay, so in terms of the 400 people, anything beyond the starter plan, so the Entrepreneur Edition or the Everything Edition, includes unlimited people. So unlimited installs, so unlimited on-demand sessions, unlimited unattended, unlimited everything. There are no limits on anything. So you can have 400 people, 4,000 people. We don't care. So you don't have to worry about the number of people you're helping. In terms of the number of IT pros, as we saw at the beginning, there's different ways to configure the app. But we charge on a per specialist, specifically per login, basis. When you have 5 IT pros, you can either get each of them their own account, or if they work on shifts, some of our customers do support A, B, C, and then they rotate through the accounts. And you can always be logged in with the same ID from a different computer. You just can't be logged in from 2 different computers with the same ID at the same time.
Can you transfer?
What's that?
If I'm in over my head and you're the specialist, can I transfer the call to you?
You absolutely can. You can transfer the call, and you can also do conference call.
Cool.
Yep. So this doesn't show up on your end, I don't think. Let me just check. Yeah. So right here, if you switch back to the monitor.
Okay. Bear with me just 1 second, and I will put the monitor full screen here.
Right here inside the system tray. So I'll just do this again so people can see me doing it. Under the system tray icon, there's a conference call option. And with that, you're able to add another specialist. You can add up to, I believe, 20. I might eat those words, but you can add a lot. You can add a lot of other specialists to a given call, and you can transfer the call as well. So you just type in the email address of the specialist you want to add. They don't even have to be within your organization. They just have to be using Instant Housecall. And you type in their email address, and it will automatically add them to the call.
Now, when you say conference call, we're not talking about a voice or video call, right? You're referring to the remote?
The remote screen is shared among multiple specialists.
And I don't want to confuse this because there's also a chat, right? Like if I need to talk to the client or ask the client a question, I see the chat option up there on the top. And that's, like I said, for most of my clients and the way that I use Instant Housecall, the way that I do remote support, clients still call me. And while I have them on the phone, I ask. But I realize there's a lot of people who never speak to the client. As you mentioned, if someone is deaf or hard of hearing, this would be a more efficient way to communicate with them. And also, if you're dealing with a lot of people, obviously, I'm not going to run 3 different phones at the same time.
Right.
What? No, I wasn't talking to you. What, were you talking to me? No, I wasn't talking to you. So this keeps the conversation private and to the direct party if you're dealing with multiple calls at the same time, which they wouldn't even know you were doing. So I get that. I honestly didn't get that till just now. I normally just do one thing at a time, though, and I'm not that big of a company. But like I said, I would often remote into another machine on premise to check it for settings that were missing on the machine they're calling about.
Right.
What's the mapped drive letter? It's not here. I don't know. What did we set it to before? I can't remember. I mean, I could take notes, but I could just do this. This is way easier. And also the customer could change it, and I don't know. So, all right. I don't know if there's any other questions. I want to encourage you again, if you have questions, go ahead and put them into the chat. How would you say the most requested or the most used, and I don't know if you know this, what would be the most common use of Instant Housecall? Like what's the most common, I guess you're not going to know.
I don't know. I don't have access to that information. So, and actually that should be reassuring to people. So these connections that we're on right now are encrypted. So I can't see them. Nobody can see them. And I have no idea what people are doing. The only way I find out about remote support scammers is I get contacted by the American authorities. That's the only way. That's the only way I find out about it. I can't tell what's going on.
What's the most feature that's requested or has been in the past?
That's a good one. Biggest feature request.
Like what was like a big step forward in Instant Housecall once that feature was added?
UAC, this is dating me a little bit, but UAC was the biggest feature. So Instant Housecall was the first remote to get through UAC.
Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. So user account control. UAC.
Yes.
That's when the software pops up a window that says, do you want to give this, you like want to execute a program?
Mhm.
And it says, a window pops up and it takes focus of everything. And it says, do you want to allow this? Yes or no? What was the problem?
So the problem was that at the time, so this was whenever Windows Vista came out. I don't remember what year that was, but it wasn't that long after I'd started Instant Housecall. And I had it working on Windows XP. It was working perfectly fine. Everybody was happy. It was selling like crazy. And then Microsoft decides to bring out this UAC thing. So I'm like, oh crap, I've got to get on top of this. So at the time, everybody's remote was disconnecting when UAC comes out. I mean, I can explain the technical reasons for that if you want me to. But the bottom line is that UAC caused remote to drop at the time. I was like, okay, well, my business is done. I'm screwed. Microsoft just completely screwed me, and I'm not in a good position here. And worked on it. And I remember I was working on it. I was on the floor at my brother-in-law's apartment when I finally cracked it. And I was like, yes, I finally got it. Everybody's going to rush to use Instant Housecall, and this is the first one that's done it. And then I go to market with it, and people are like, I hate UAC. I just disable UAC. I won't install Windows Vista. It's garbage, blah, 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 blah. So
I remember those days. And of course, I didn't have the benefit of disabling it on clients' computers that are contacting me for the first time. It is what it is, right? Luckily, Vista was never very popular. And until you said the word Vista, I think I had an emotional block. I've forgotten all about it. What year did it come out? I don't even care. Like, it's PTSD.
I'm going to tell you, I was the only person who liked Windows 8. I genuinely liked Windows 8. I thought Microsoft did a fantastic job on it. I know nobody liked it, but I got so deep into it, I really started to get used to it. But anyway, there's no need to go down that road.
We were in Chicago for a CompTIA ChannelCon, and Corey was there. I think I'm remembering this correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. And at the time, Windows probably 8.1 was out, and we were, I don't know, having a drink, talking, and you mentioned how great the tiles were. And I'm checking my drink to see what's in it. And you're like, no, I'll show you, come up to the room, let me show you. And you showed me, and I was still like, yeah, I don't get it. You'll see. It's okay. So, but you were very enthusiastic about it. You really felt that this, from your perspective as a developer, you saw it in a way I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And, between you and me, I'm glad that Microsoft has moved on.
Yeah.
But I think you're probably a little sad about it.
I'm not sad.
You were really enthusiastic.
I'm not sad about it. I've accepted it. I've come back to the regular Windows, and from a technology perspective, it was pretty cool. It certainly caused lots of problems for me, but anyway, we're back to the old Windows, and I think most people are very happy about that.
So now, as we continue on with some of the features, I don't want to go too much longer. We're at an hour at this point. Maybe we can go another half hour. It depends on your schedule, but I also don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to spoil, no spoilers, right? I still want people, give them a reason to explore this, because there's so much more that you can do than we can cover, that I hope that we're at least enticing, giving you a reason as a viewer that may be interested in having remote support software, to check this out for yourself. Now, the free trial is how long?
15 days.
So you have 15 days. Is anything restricted during the free trial?
Nothing's restricted.
Fully working as if it's the paid version. You used to say if you still need a little more time, they could email you and ask you for that.
That offer still stands.
You say, hey, Corey, I realize I've had it 15 days, but I haven't really had a chance to really use it, or I'd like a little bit more time. No problem?
No problem.
How many companies do that? Okay. I have found when I'm working on clients remotely, like doing the regular monthly maintenance, I log in at night, as I previously mentioned, The office is closed. Everybody's gone home. They leave their computers on. Believe it or not, and I find this so strange, I can update their computers faster remotely than if I were there. Because if I were there and I go to Windows Update, and it's going to take 20 minutes, I get up, I walk to the next office, I sit down in the chair, I go to Windows Update. It's going to take 20 minutes. I get up, I move to the next chair, and I'm going office to office, and then I have to cycle back around. Is it done yet? Some of the computers are faster than others. I got to keep walking. It's a lot of exercise. And some of the computers are clear on the other side of the building. I just go click, click, and I'm on computer 1, computer 2, computer 3, computer 4. Is there a limit to the number of simultaneous connections on your basic level, your entry level instant house call offering?
So the entry level instant house call offering, which is the starter plan, allows you to do 1 session at a time. If you go to the entrepreneur plan, you can do up to 10 sessions at the same time. And if you do the everything plan, you can do up to 10 sessions at the same time.
If you're doing 10 sessions at the same time, you must have like a Monster Energy drink, extreme focus. Because I won't remember, did I do that on computer 2 yet? Or did I just do that on computer 3? Oh, that would be a mess for me. So I think 10 is pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
I would do.
I have had people ask for more, and I've extended it to beyond 10. But
that's pretty cool that you can do that.
Yeah.
But that they can reach out to you and you have the ability to go, yeah, for you, like a chef, can I get a little extra Parmesan? I'll put a little extra Parmesan on there for you. That's nice. That's just a kind of customer service I'm not used to in this industry. You kind of stand alone in that, and especially with remote software.
Right.
So in say 20 minutes we have left, are there any other features, bells, whistles, or things you'd like to bring up about Instant House Call?
I mean, there's tons. We have barely even scratched the surface.
And that's why I'm putting it on your shoulders. Because if I decide...
I did at the outset promise that I would show a hidden feature for
Oh,
Carey.
I forgot. All right, so I need to go back to my desktop?
Yeah, go back to your desktop.
Okay.
On my side, I'm just clicking Auto PC Repair Launch Now. And on your computer, now this is going to take some time because your internet's so slow.
Let's talk about that. Auto PC Repair. That's not a feature I've ever seen on remote software before.
It is not a feature that you will see on other remote support software.
So this is more than just remote software. This is proof. This will do the basic remote stuff, but then look at this. Oh, I recognize this. Tell us what we're looking at.
We licensed D7X, and it's inside of Instant House Call. So it's included with your plan. If you use the registry key that you have to email me for and say, Carey told me about this registry key. And you'll have access to this as well.
Oh, that is a neat little Easter egg. I like it. Only those in the know get access to this.
So the way this works is you choose from the left-hand menu, so auto-diagnose, malware removal, maintenance, and there's all kinds of features and tools inside of here that you can pick from, and you can change the order that they get run in, and you just click them off, and then click Start Auto Mode, and it will go through this checklist the same way you would go through a checklist, except it does it automatically instead of by hand.
Wow.
And that applies to malware removal, which is probably the most popular. And you can also, if you have a certain set of checkboxes that you prefer to use, you can save that profile, and then you'll be able to choose it from this drop-down menu here.
Nice. Okay. Now, of course, there's other PC repair utilities and tools that aren't hidden in Instant House Call.
There are, and so if you have another auto PC repair tool that you prefer to use, which a lot of my customers do, we have something called the toolbox, which I can see on my side. So on my side, you put any of your favorite tools into your toolbox, which is just a folder in your Windows app directory. Then it'll appear in Instant House Call in the drop-down menu. Give it one click, it will automatically launch your favorite tool. So if you use Crystal Disk Info, or if you use Malwarebytes, or if you have a license to whatever, you can just put it in your toolbox, click on it from your toolbox. It'll automatically send the file to your customer's computer, automatically run it in a single click.
Oh, that's, we all have our favorite tools that we rely on. And another feature that I never use, and I didn't realize I could do that. Luke Greenia says in the chat, thank you for your time, Corey. It's a great product. We here in the community appreciate it. Look at that.
Thank you, Luke. Appreciate that.
And I just want to see if I missed any questions here. Let's see. So for regular, I remember you saying you could sell Instant House Call to your clients as a remote access solution.
You can. Wow, we're all over the place. So
yeah, sorry.
Instant House Call has a feature called sub-accounts, and sub-accounts are accounts that you can sell or give away to your own customers so they can control their own PCs unattended. So they would get a specialist sign-in just like you, but they would only have access to their own computer, unlike you, which you would have access to a long list of computers. They would only have access to that one computer. And so you can actually make money with Instant House Call. So this is in the Everything Edition, and you can, people charge 10, 15 bucks a month to their customers, and they use Instant House Call. It's included with it, Everything Edition. You can create as many as you like, and you can recoup the cost of Instant House Call many, many fold.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all over the place. That's my intent, actually, because any way that you can use this tool, if you want to be self-employed and you want to be a tech, I'm telling you, getting in the car and driving to the clients, that's so 2015. Maybe even, I'm trying to remember when. All I know is I wish I had this in the 1990s. Of course, we didn't have the broadband. Most of my clients didn't have enough bandwidth to support that. But this doesn't take much bandwidth, does it?
I don't know the actual metric on it anymore because we've changed so many things. I did have a metric for it years ago.
Well, the fact that we're on my crappy internet connection and it's smooth as butter.
Yeah, your internet connection was very slow downloading the app. I'm surprised at how smooth the remote connection is when I'm actually using it. Like when I click on your start menu, it's coming up right away.
So you compare the download speed, the upload speed's a fraction of that, right?
Yeah.
So the download is the good side.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So if the download's slow, the upload's likely going to be worse. But all right, we got about 15 minutes, I suppose. Any other features you want to talk about?
Let's take a look at the administrator control panel because there's
that's your side.
I'm going to do it on your side just to make it easier on the broadcast. So if you bring your computer back, I'm going to instanthousecall.com/sign-in, which is where the administrator control panel is.
So, okay. I didn't see how you got there, but you just went to Instant House Call.
instanthousecall.com/sign-in. You can also do it from your specialist sign-in. There's a little system tray icon.
I got you. Right.
That's the easiest way to get to it.
Okay.
So when you're inside the administrator control panel, which is where we're going right now, just waiting for it to load.
Bear with my internet connection. Again, I want to remind the audience, this is not slow on Corey's part. Just like when I was trying to download the... Can you help me get my internet connection faster? Can you do that remotely?
If I were a tech, I'm not a tech, I'm only a programmer.
I can't download more RAM?
I can't download more RAM, unfortunately.
Gosh darn.
So this is sort of where all that magic happens for the branding and stuff that we were talking about. So this is where you can set up your company name, which you can see right here. You had pointed out the phone number. You can configure that here. The website address is configurable. Beta customer download, I encourage most people to leave that off for the most part, but if you feel like experimenting, you can obviously turn on the beta. Choosing the appropriate server. So I'm in Eastern Canada, so I use America East, but you would use America West because that server is closer to you, or you can choose Europe or Australia.
It doesn't determine that automatically based on my IP. I have to change that?
It does not. That's correct. You have to change
okay.
it. Unless you're moving around the country a lot, it's not going to affect you. It's a one-time configuration. The app branding logo that we talked about, that gets put everywhere. That's going to be put on your session confirmations. That's going to be set on your start session screen that we talked about before. It's going to be put on the D7X UI. It's going to be put everywhere. So the app branding logo is uploaded here, and then the accent color can be configured here as well. So if you have a specific color that you like to use for your branding, then you would enter it here, and then the UI will be customized with that just to make it a little bit more personal looking. The customer desktop icon, if you have an ICO file. Now, I'm just going to mention ICO files are a little bit more complicated than some people make them out or realize they might be. ICO files have, I don't remember how many, but 10, 15 different actual icon sizes in them. You need to make a proper ICO file in order to do this, because otherwise your ICO file will get scaled and it looks like garbage. So you need to get a proper ICO file, but once you upload it, then that icon here, like on the desktop, is going to be branded with your icon. And then you can change the text on the icon as well. So by default, it's get remote support. But we talked about this earlier. You can say contact CareyHolzman. You can say whatever you want to say. But that's your calling card. That's your business card that's going to end up on the desktop. And then my greeting, I haven't changed it for a while. My greeting is currently Happy Canada Day, but we can change it to.
That was July 1st, right?
Yes.
Look at how smart I am with my international knowledge.
I'm impressed.
Wow.
There we go. I've just changed the time on Carey's show, and that's what's going to appear from now on. Terms and conditions. So we didn't demo this before, but if you have T's and C's that you want your customer to sign off on, that either your lawyer told you to have, or that you want to set out your pricing, to be honest, is probably the most common one. You can have terms and conditions pop up before a session starts. So when your customer starts the session, they'll say, do you accept or decline these terms and conditions? And you can paste those here. Managed specialists, pretty straightforward stuff, but it does leaf into something that we had talked about before. So this is me. I can upload my headshot here. And it'll appear on the start session screen where we were looking before. And you can always prompt for new contact info, which we had spoken about before. And that makes your customer always type in their contact info.
It looks like there's no apply button to these changes. That they're taking effect. I see the saving appearing automatically.
Yeah, it happens automatically.
Good.
Well, I personally like new customer. That's my preference. But it sounds like you might like always, to make sure your customer always types in their contact info for you.
I see. Note to self. Okay.
Sub accounts. These are the accounts that you can sell or give away to your customers so they can control their own PCs. If you want to create a sub account, you just type in the name, email address, and password, and it will create a sub account for your customer. They download the specialist software the same way you do, and that's all there really is to it.
And you're allowed a certain amount of those, or
unlimited.
That comes with the
Everything edition.
With the everything. Got it. Okay.
Yep. And then time zone. So I'm in Toronto. If we wanted to set it to your time zone, you're in Arizona.
Yeah.
Phoenix, I guess.
Yes.
If I can find Phoenix. It's here somewhere. Anyway, we can set the time zone to anything. What the time zone is useful for is for anything that shows the time. So session confirmations, those surveys that we talked about, the reporting, everything gets localized to the appropriate time zone. So that's where the time zone comes in handy. And we're going to take a look at some of those reports right now. So I'm going to go into analytics. And then analytics allows you to get a detailed view of all of your customers' session history. So if I go into analytics, I can filter by name. And so these are all of the different customers that I've connected to. I can filter just for a specific customer or for a specific subset of customers.
So when they get the bill, when the boss says, why are you billing me? And you can say, well, I talked to your clients, your employees on these days. It's sort of an itemized way of invoicing.
Yep, exactly. And so you can actually see right here all the different sessions that I've done. And so you can see the notes that were taken. Here's where you said I'm having issues. Please help.
Love it.
And
I never said that. Yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did.
And you can see that the session was started at 3:25 p.m. And it was acknowledged at.
And that's your time.
3:25 p.m. my time. Yes, and it was an on-demand session. So if for example we only wanted to see unattended sessions, we can actually break that down by going to type, and then just say unattended sessions, and then it'll only show unattended sessions. Or only unattended and on demand. So you can do some pretty detailed analytics and get some pretty good details on pretty much everything with it.
And auditing for your employees who said they were sorry. I was helping a client. That's why I didn't return your call. No, you weren't.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So that's the admin panel and analytics in a nutshell. I think that pretty much covers it. I know I went through it pretty quickly, but I don't want to bore people to death with all the details. But if people have any questions, they're welcome to reach out to me anytime, and I'm happy to help. Or they can send an email to support, or they can do whatever works for them.
I love that we've been talking about some things that Corey's been with us before. In fact, he came out to Phoenix, and we had him here locally. And I hate the idea of just basically repeating the same show. So I love that we have the basic information, of course, for people that never saw your previous visits. And then, of course, get into some of the more, I don't want to say advanced, but I would say just other features that we haven't covered in the past. So I never go into that administrative panel, but I promise you I'm going in there as soon as we're done here. Well, it's still on and I'm going to change my server to West Coast to see if that even improves even better, the connection speed. And I'm going to change my, I'm going to say that require the customers to put their darn name in on these first-time connections, because I hate it when it just says user. I don't know who it is. And I'd like to be able to know who they are in the future if we want to enable unattended access, if this is not just a one-time thing. So I've been sort of doing things the hard way. So yeah, for my own personal benefit, thank you for being here. I mean, I got a personal tutor. That's awesome.
And actually, one other feature that I want to mention, only because this is one of my personal favorites, even though it's like nothing, it's not going to blow anyone's mind. But when you do multi-monitor sessions, have you done a multi-monitor session before?
Most of my clients have 2 monitors now.
Right. So when you do a multi-monitor session, each monitor comes up in a separate window now, and you can scale those windows to make them any size that you want.
I've seen other remote software that puts the window directly behind the other window, so you don't know there's 2 windows. I noticed with Instant Housecall, it's like the frame of the rear window is slightly higher up.
Yes.
So you can see 2 windows are open. It's very obvious.
Yes, that was a feature request from somebody. I can't remember who it was, but somebody.
Those little kind of details, I love that. Because it's so obvious. I've seen other remote software that the computer you're connected to has 2 monitors, and use this button to switch monitors, and then that message goes away and I've forgotten that the other monitor's back there. I'm clicking control panel, nothing's happening. Like, where the hell's the control panel? Why can't I see the control panel? Let me look in the task manager. It says the control panels. So again, hard way. Oh, there's a second window for the other monitor, and that's where the control panel is. Right. So it's sort of like when you try to open a door and it won't open. And I'm looking to see if anybody's in there in the store. what the hours are, what time it is. If the door's locked, if I see the little piece of metal, and it turns out the door says push and I'm pulling on it, you know, it's always, then the next step is to look around and see if anybody saw me. That's one of those moments. An instant house call, that is a feature I appreciate. Where that second, what if there's a third monitor? Would there be another frame
It'll
behind
show
it?
all three, yeah.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. There were a couple other questions really quickly if we can get to them. Nick wants to know, does Instant House Call let you rerun patches without having to be logged in? Can you push them? Oh, I see, without being logged in.
No, it does not. So that's a typical feature of an RMM. Instant House Call is not an RMM; it's a remote support software. So if you're looking for that type of feature, you're looking for a different type of product.
Fair enough. There was a couple I missed. I'm trying to find them. I'll tell you what, customers are so terrible at describing problems. I'm just like, let me see it. You know, let me just get reminded. Stop explaining it. Just show it to me.
Tell you what, can you go through the chat? I'm just going to excuse myself for about 60 seconds.
Yeah, go right ahead. I'm going to
Okay.
go full screen over here.
Thank
And let me know when you're back. I'm going to try and find the questions I've missed. Or again, I'll ask the audience now that I'm paying attention at the chat as we're getting ready to wrap up today's interview. I hope that you've enjoyed it and got as much from it as I did. And I'm pretty familiar. Well, I thought I was pretty familiar with the product. Let me ask you again if I missed your earlier question, to put it into the chat now so I'm not having to scroll and try and find it. And then there'll be a better chance that I can address your question with Corey when he returns here in a moment. And let's scroll. Andy wants to know, how much is the offer? Well, we talked about pricing earlier, but I would encourage you to go to the site and download the trial. The starter edition, I think he mentioned, was $29.99 a month. And there's
$29 a month.
Thank you. So yeah, I think somebody missed our earlier talking about pricing. Andy Kane wants to know, how much is this offer?
15% off any yearly plan for the first year.
Perfect. What's his email? I'm not sure what that's about.
My email is Corey@instanthousecall.com.
And Corey@instanthousecall.com is how you can reach the man himself. You know, I wish there was a way I could reserve these questions that I'm seeing as they appear so that when we get to them, I could have them sort of in standby, and trying to find them while we're live is always a bit maddening. So Nick Pulverman mentions, thanks for the video. It was very helpful.
Thanks for coming, Nick.
Taz wants to know, is there any way to show the remote cursor and always arrow cursor on by default?
I understand what he's asking. So there is a feature in Instant House Call to show the remote cursor. It's under Tools, Settings, Show Remote Cursor. The default is, let me just take a look at it to make sure I get this right. The default is on both Show Remote Cursor and Always Remote Cursor is always false. It's always off. There's no way to change that default at this time, no. But I will take that as a feature request.
I think we're through the questions. I swear there was another one here. Well, I don't know that this is on topic, but it might be a fun question. What's your programming language of choice?
My programming language of choice. So of choice, or what is Instant House Call programmed in? They're two different things.
I was asking your choice. What do you code yourself, or you just?
I haven't coded for many years now. I now hire people to do that for me, but I do know how to program. So Instant House Call is written in Visual C++ for anyone who actually cares. Would I make something in Visual C++ today? Absolutely never. Never again will I do it. I also, desktop apps are not things that are being programmed very much these days anyway. So everything's moved to the web. So it would be TypeScript if I were to have a programming language of choice. I would say TypeScript.
You missed the what is it?
TypeScript.
One more time.
TypeScript.
TypeScript. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll take basic and batch files for 100, Alex.
Auto exec on bat.
Can I edit the auto exec bat to?
Does auto exec on bat still work? It probably does, eh?
I mean, how else do you run the high mem sys? Sorry.
That was config sys. Come on, Carey.
I'm getting old, which I'm told is better than the alternative, but I'm sure my EMM 386 license is still okay. And Stacker. All right, for those of you that are older or original geeks, OGs, that's for you. Corey, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for taking the time to walk us through and having your patience with me. And again, I love the product. I use it myself. I rely on it. It's not enough to say I use it. I am able to offer better service to my clients faster, making them happier. I can earn more money. I don't have the expense of travel, the risk of travel. I don't deal with the Phoenix traffic, the 115-degree weather. I don't deal with the road construction and the traffic accidents and the nutcases. You've driven in Phoenix?
I've driven with you in Phoenix.
So you know.
I know.
If I was driving, then you know.
I know.
My clients are 30 miles away.
I think we've got you beat in Toronto when it comes to traffic.
Well,
I think we have the worst traffic in North America.
But do that in 115-degree weather. You don't do that, do you?
We don't have 115-degree weather now.
Gotcha. Listen, as always, a pleasure. I encourage our viewers to download the software. Don't take my word. Don't take his word. Decide for yourself. There's a 15% discount just for you guys. Thank you to Corey for offering that to you guys. I think that it can be life-changing in the sense of how hard you want to work if you're self-employed. Also, if you're just the guy that people call, whether it's family or friends, it also might be worth having. Again, even if what they're doing is saying, hey, I'll buy you dinner, still could be worth having a license for it, as cheap as it is. That's cheaper than I ate. This is a little off topic, but I ate at Arby's with Mitch the other day, and it was over $30 to eat at Arby's. That's just.
I'm not gonna lie. I love Arby's. There are no Arby's anywhere near me, but I love
Hardee's. Do you have Hardee's?
Hardee's, no, does not.
No, it's all Tim Hortons, or that's it.
All Tim Hortons. That's the only restaurant we have.
Corey, we'll say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us. InstantHousecall.com. Check out the notes in the video notes below this video, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon. If you have any questions, once again, Corey at Instant House Call is how you can email the man himself. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Carey.
All right, guys, thank you all for watching. Thanks for your contributions, your support. We're going to wrap it up for today. Of course, thanks to Marlena for helping administer the chat and get our thumbnail. What a fantastic thumbnail, and the video notes that she's doing for us. And we will see you all again on Members Only Mondays. We do a live show every Monday at noon Pacific time, specifically for our supporters. And of course, we do a live show every single Friday at noon. That'll wrap it up for me for today. I will see you all again very, very soon. And until next time, bye for now. And this is a little different. I have to roll an outro. It's a little unprofessional, but I have to roll an outro a little differently. I don't know if it gets audio, but let's do it this way. Bye for now.